this experience, I feel like Black joy and healing is something that is extremely intimate.
To me, Black joy is a celebration.
Resilience.
Healing.
Peace. It has meant time taken. It has meant care.
Hi, my name is Jade Sullivan and I use she, they pronouns. For my project, I'm developing a bunch of film images that I'm going to put into a photo album, and I'm going to have a little bit of annotations, and a lot of the images are of like Black people in specific spaces, either in community, is in large groups, in like the ballroom scene, or I have specific like one-on-one conversations talking about gender and Blackness expression. After this experience, I feel like Black joy and healing is something that is extremely intimate and something that is really resilient and revolutionary for me personally. As I've like navigated the space and participated in this project, I've realized that every single moment I've captured and every single moment I've been a part of has been like super close, almost like in like a kinship way. And I feel like it's such an intimate space outside of like regular day-to-day life, where we're allowed to like let down our walls and just be in relation with each other and be like kind of at home.
My name is Antonio Wilson, pronouns he, him. And for Black Joy and Healing Project, my piece will be a spoken word. Black joy and healing has meant a lot to me. It has meant peace. It has meant time taken. It has meant care. One of the biggest things for me coming into this workshop is understanding how do I go through my ups and downs in life without feeling though the world is against me while I'm doing it. And this project has made me realize that I don't need to subscribe to, societal pressures or anything of that sort. But I think my biggest takeaway is definitely the community. Just as I am. Just as I am, scars and all. Just as I am, flaws and all. Just as I am, dazed and confused. Just as I am, hurt and abused. Thinking I left me behind, feeling like it was my biggest crime. They say ignorance is bliss, but you know what I say? It's a fool's drug of choice. See, my lesson was I did not leave me behind. I committed no crime. I found peace through wisdom, freedom in the face of boredom. Fool that I am for falling in love with this thing we call life. Just as I am, hopeful, strolling with pride. Just as I am, putting doubt aside. Just as I am, layered and complex. Just as I am, I no be vex.
My name is Uvier. My pronouns are she, they, and I worked with paint on a canvas. A lot of times we're told to tone ourselves down to appease other people, but it's our experiences and our uniqueness that makes us who we are. And I also have found a lot of joy in this program, finding more community and connecting with people, making more relationships. So for my project, I did 3 paintings talking about my healing journey and my queerness journey. So I have them all telling a story. The first one is little baby me in a garden, fenced off from other communities. I knew they existed, but I never really saw myself as part of them. I did admire them from far away. And then for my second painting, kind of tells a story of me starting to see that side inside of me, but being afraid to express that side because I was told that it's a wrong side, feeling broken because of how I identified, feeling weighed down and chained to what I was brought up with and what I was told I had to be. And so this is also showing grappling with 2 sides, you know, trying to please people and pleasing myself. And then for my last one, I have a fully realized flower, fully realized self. Finally just accepting myself and not letting what other people define as right, define what I feel and who I am. So yeah, that's the story that I'm telling.
My name is Ben and I use they, he pronouns. And for my project, I am going to sculpt. It's basically having 2 brains, and that's how I felt like for the longest time. Having a healing part and a brain that's kind of fucked up. I wanted to show how healing is hard. Like you will see the brain, it's black, it's kind of just recovered also in blood. And to me, that's the part where I'm healing. But also you will see another part where the brain is at its natural color. And it's kind of like, hey, when you're healing, you still have those parts of you. And you just have to, you know, just accept it and be able to move forward. Agony. For the longest time, I felt my life had no meaning. My heart and my brain were always fighting, but only got along when I was in agony. Agony. Wanting to scream, to run, leave this shell of a body, this prison I could never escape. Agony. Hurting myself to alleviate the pain, cuts after cuts, but too scared to go deeper. Hating myself so much that I couldn't even recognize my own reflection in the mirror. Agony. For the longest time, I was a living corpse, literally. It may sound cliché, but that's who I was. Already dead and walking around my peers, every day hoping that it would be the last. Attempts after attempts, wondering why the world couldn't just let me go. Breathing this air that felt so toxic and suffocating. Savoring any joyful moments while it lasted, knowing that the darkness was lurking right next to me. Agony. A feeling that has been way too familiar. A feeling that little me didn't understand. A feeling so strong that nothing could have made it fly away. Agony. For the longest time, I wanted to disappear. I wanted to go back in time and never let my parents meet. Agony. I wanted to be dead. Agony. A feeling I thought would be forever within me. Today, I am still finding the meaning of my life. I am still battling my own thoughts. I don't know if there will ever be a day where I'll finally be free from myself. free from the pain and the rage. But today, tomorrow seems brighter than yesterday. The air seems more breathable. My wounds have become scars. I am not the same person anymore. Agony doesn't define me anymore. Even though she's still there, creeping around, I don't let her take control of my life anymore. This is my life. This is my tomorrow. This is me.
Hi, my name is Karel Tsapmo. My pronouns are she, her, and for the Black Joy and Healing project, I decided to do a portrait painting with acrylic on canvas. To me, Black Joy is a celebration of culture and identity, so that is why I decided to paint a portrait of a Black woman and celebrate the beauty of Black people, the diversity and richness of Black skin tones, dark skin tones in particular. Healing, to me, means acknowledging the pain that you've been through while not allowing it to limit you. So it means persevering and continuing despite the challenges. And I've definitely needed to persevere a lot throughout the process of making this portrait. Portrait making is a very long process and there is an ugly phase to it. I enjoyed how this project allowed me to be creative, especially since life gets busy and creativity isn't really an aspect of my life that I've prioritized in the past. So I really liked that in these past few months I've been able to draw and paint most days and engage in other forms of media like sewing we did the other day. So at some points I didn't think that I'd be able to fully realize the project, but I knew that I needed to keep going because I knew I could do it. And I did, and the painting turned out more beautiful than I ever expected it to be.
Hi, my name is Elvin Girinedza. I go by any pronouns. I like to hear what pronouns people use for me because I like to change up my expression. And my medium is usually performance poetry, but I also like to mix in my own photography to kind of go along with the words. In terms of Black Joy and healing, I feel like this point in my life has been a very, I guess, sore spot because I left Ottawa for a while because of my negative experiences in the city. And I felt like just sort of existing as a Black person was almost like the thing that prevented me from feeling joy or kept giving me reasons or things that I needed to heal from. And I just felt like a new thing every year, but because of Project Agape, it was the first time I could picture myself just doing something in Ottawa where I know that even though I'm making the trips along the same bus lines where I get harassed or along the same streets where all these things happen to me, I get to still go somewhere that makes me genuinely feel safe, makes me feel genuinely excited, where I can come as my authentic self. And I could always think about it in theory, but being able to actually do it and see myself unclench just a little bit, I think that's what this project almost speaks to on its own, regardless of whether the message is as clear as we all want our art to be. When I started this, I really have changed so much more than I expected to. And to be quite honest, I like the idea that the art isn't something I'm bringing forward in my hand of, oh, I made this. I get to say that me, alive, happy, well in this space. That's the art, and all the relationships that grew within that time in between. Those are the things that are going to make the moment much brighter and much more radiant than anything I could kind of bring here as a package. So I like to not keep it as a secret, but to let it flow in its own way.
I got bigger. I hope to say wiser, but I noticed that my smile in the later pictures are much more performed than the ones before. That I got used to the art of adulting, which was just not really being the childlike version of myself that I always wanted to be. And that's hard because you don't get to decide when your childhood ends. I think the hardest part about being traumatized starting university and navigating the difference between relationships and engagements and traumatic experiences is that I realized the first time I was a survivor was not actually the first time. And that everything kind of comes rushing back into just one big weight, one big mesh, where you wake up and you're disappointed because your dreams were dreams and this is the real life. I was so disappointed to wake up every single day. And the reasons were too valid. I could point to so many directions. I could point to every degree in 360 and I would find something, some sort of thread to justify why I wasn't content. But that was only because I was waking up alone and not with people that reminded me how natural it is to feel happy. I look at my younger brothers, where my youngest one, he's 13, he's 6'2", kind of terrifying. But he was only 4 months old when my dad died. And I wasn't ready to be a father at that time, but you almost realize that's kind of what identity is, who you choose to be when there are gaps, big glaring gaps. And that's what makes parenthood frustrating the older you get, where you realize you didn't have to do me like that. You didn't have, no one was forcing you. It really was your choice. And then you get older enough to realize, yeah, it really was your choice, but you didn't pick your trauma too, so were you really acting out of choice? You start to empathize with the people who hurt you, while no one else is empathizing with you. And you just keep pouring out in this almost negative cycle where you're doing all your best to heal, but you haven't yet realized that you heal naturally without actually trying. So where is that effort going but into the performance of living rather than life itself? I don't know, but I guess when I get there, I feel like I feel more lost, really. Because when you have it all figured out, okay, well, what now? The world's not getting more live, laugh, love. I'm seeing the same patterns repeated. I'm seeing the same things come up. And I can't picture myself as this ultimate savior who can save the entire world, because I read the Bible. I don't want to be crucified. No, not for me. I'm gonna take that as a message, because that's kind of really what messes me up. The more I commit to the loving versions of myself, the more pain I'm going to endure. Yeah. The more I'm going to be hurt because I've left infinity of love available, which means infinity of hurt has to be there. It kind of hits me sometimes when I walk in the city compared to the forests that I was working nearby last year, that if you view the brown bark of trees as brown skin, deforestation and genocide aren't that different. But if one can be so passively and casually accepted as just how things got here, we can't really be surprised that we're here now then, can we? It's the foundation. It builds on itself, where it's the hurt you don't really take into your heart that gets to grow the fastest. And that, yeah, you're a living thing, you're breathing, you're doing your best, but so is cancer. Who's going to win? Wrap it up. Who's going to win? We don't know. Sometimes you win. Sometimes you win, but not always. And that's messy, because I have never had my fear validated. I am someone to be feared, not someone who's afraid at every moment. Who is going to hold me when I just want to be a little kid again? My mom's too frail to hold this big-ass body. Who is going to hold me? Because that's all I want. And it's weird, because my queerness was me realizing I'm actually asexual, and I just like making out with guys, but I don't like what they take from that afterwards. Yeah. I don't like how they see me afterwards, what they expect from me afterwards. I don't like being just a body in the minds of people. Lust is not love, and lust is not just a sexual thing. You know, you lust after the life, the career, the comfort, but you don't want to be the person who takes every single step along the way, including all the mistakes. That's cheap. And I don't want my relationships to be cheap. I don't want to just write a book and have y'all read it when you'll have time. Well, you're still stressed working the same job, doing the same bullshit, you know, feeling like love is far away. I want to be the book. I want to be by your side, living life alongside of you. I want to be the person who doesn't have to say anything to be there for you when you need it. I want to be your sibling, that person who you close your eyes and they still feel like they're there. And I look around and I see that, where I still see my friend on the DJ booth behind me kicking it up while I'm feeling the groove. I still see my friend painting in the corner in this space. I still see my friend who I had just met and I'm talking in the corner over there. And I didn't realize that we would be best friends living down the street from each other at that time, but I let myself be a little open to conversation, and that piece was just built on and built on. And my piece at the Ottawa Art Gallery was exactly that. I had photos all the way back from when I was 15, all the way to the year before, that I never took expecting to be art. I never took expecting to stitch into this beautiful bigger picture. But when you really take the time to sit with who you were, who you are, and who you're going to be, it's just one picture. And it's a picture that you all get to be a part of in everybody else's lives too. And the blessing for that is that you get to be you. No one, you get to be you. I want that for me, because I look at you and I see sunshine, I see love, not lights, warmth, sunshine, love, growth, flowers, trees, bees, sunshine, breeze, oceans, mist, clouds, rain, floods, recuperation and pain. I see myself in some of you, and I don't like that either. Because I don't want you to empathize with my struggle. I don't want my younger brothers to know what wisdom takes. I don't want them to experience what I have to experience. I want them to be naive. I want them to be free from the struggle of liberation, because I don't want to tell them that slavery doesn't involve physical chains all the time. Sometimes it's just the fact that it's only going to be here that we listen to each other, because out there no one's listening the way we need them to. It's scary. And I want to end off on a note where we all snap, we all cheer, we all say, oh yeah, love Shata. We feel the Holy Ghost, but you know, church for me, it's not a sermon, it's not a building, it's not a single prayer. It's really putting my heart on the line and saying that if salvation for me comes at the cost of putting my faith, that there is good in you and that y'all deserve to see the best of life, even if this one singular lifetime doesn't have it for you, I give you my whole heart, my whole faith, and my everything, because my poetry isn't just my words, it's what I believe. And you are everything to me, regardless of where life takes me.
Kaya, my pronouns are she, her, and I made an acrylic painting art with sprinkles of origami pieces. It is a piece centering polyvagal nervous system states represented through traffic light. Black joy and healing means returning back home to myself and venturing into the new along with caring, creative, supportive, and empowering community. It means reintroduction to my spirit and growing through joy and healing with meaning. When I walked into the space, I felt welcomed with warmth. I felt excited and liberated, and I experienced hope. I truly enjoyed letting go and being playful, learning, sharing ideas, crying, laughing. It's a place you get to feel safe to be vulnerable. You're treated with grace and gentleness. I felt honored, cherished, protected, guided, inspired, accepted for exactly who I am and everything that I am, without being subjected to unjust precedents of who I should be to deserve kindness and respect for my humanity.
My name is Shakila Isaacs. My pronouns are she, her, and I decided to do a painting for this program. To me, Black joy and healing, it's really all about community, because I feel like having community kind of takes you out of this headspace where you feel like you're just going through life alone, or in a certain sense more of surviving than actually thriving and being happy, and just having people around you that, you know, love you for who you are and make you feel comfortable and open, and you don't have to perform for. In terms of my painting, when you look at it, you'll see like different puzzle pieces that are not put together. and they each would represent either something that I've had to let go of or something that I've shed. And whether that is like family, letting go of like expectations, disappointment, religion even. And then there's sort of like a pathway where you're, you know, moving on to the person that you're becoming when you have community with you. So that's the pathway, and there's like sort of a light. To me, like the light is just like community members helping to lead you along. And then on the other half of the portrait, there is another set of puzzle pieces, but these represent, you know, the things that you've gained, you know, in order to become who you need to be. My painting, to me, it kind of highlights liberation in a sense where you're able to transform into the person you're meant to be. For me, that's like letting go of certain expectations, letting go of like disappointment, just the things that you have to shed and let go of to make yourself happy in a sense.
My name is Patience, or my performer name is Miss Patience Plush. I go by they, them. And for this project, I'm a burlesque performer, and so I did a burlesque act surrounding pretty much liberation, and it was inspired by the book Fearing the Black Body. I had a very complicated relationship with being like my Black identity, as well as like my Indigenous identity, and then being plus size as well. And it wasn't until after reading Fearing the Black Body, really realizing just how much of that is deeply rooted in like anti-Blackness and racism. And a lot of my acts are like really fun and upbeat, and this one is a little bit more, like it's still fun and upbeat, very much me, but it really touches on the fact that I'm fully reclaiming that and just executing like unapologetic joy as a Black queer person, as a fat Black queer person. I find that I'm in so many spaces where I kind of have to code switch or mask, and nobody really understands me. It wasn't until joining this group, and like I've made so many amazing friendships because of it, but like I genuinely felt like I was healing. I wasn't in spaces where it was like, this is a healing circle, but it was predominantly, you know, white people, and like they were talking about their traumas, and it just didn't feel like a safe space for me to truly talk about these things. And so these past couple weeks have just been eye-opening to be surrounded by such an amazing community, and we just have so much love for each other. We just get each other, and that for me is like really important on like healing and my healing journey, and fully being able to allow myself to feel joy. Black joy and Black healing for me is allowing myself to just be authentically who I am, and also allowing myself to feel tenderness. So Black joy and healing for me is just like allowing myself to be receptive to love and joy and healing while still being authentic to who I am.
In America is the Black woman. The most unprotected person in America is the Black woman. The most neglected person in America is the Black woman.
Teachers say I'm gonna be a supermodel, and everyone is gonna dress like me. Just wait and see when I'm a supermodel, and my hair will shine like the sea. Wait and see, 'cause everyone is gonna dress like me. I said I don't care what my mom said. I'm gonna be a supermodel. It's gonna dress like
is Tamika. I go by TJ. My pronouns are she, they, and I've written a poem for this piece. It's called Me and My Pick Comb. My poem reflects Black joy in the sense of showing resilience and culture through exploration of music, dance, overall identity, and coming to terms with where I stand in my identity as a mixed race Black person. And this experience has been pretty liberating. Like, it's been also really eye-opening. I haven't really had much of a Black community to be a part of, despite being a mixed biracial individual. Like, even in high school, I was like one of 5 mixed people in my high school, and like the other 4 people were siblings. So like, I really haven't had that much of a community aspect. My poem just overall has like a strong sense of self-acceptance and exploration of my own journey, and I think there's definitely a heavy sense of having grown up in a mixed race community, being told like I'm not Black enough or I've been raised too white. So I feel like I was able to capture that poetically. The poem is called Me and My Pick Comb. The first part is identity. Since a young age, I've wondered where I fit in the human race. It's not a race, but I don't even know my place. Raised too white or not Black enough is what they've said. I remember white kids teasing, "At least I have a dad," like a stereotypical insult. I'd cry. I did have a dad. He just wasn't around. Stereotypical Black father, I guess. Next part is called Turning Point. It wasn't until Meghan Markle's race, and not her face, was headlining with bringing Blackness into the royal family that confusion and identity crisis consumed me. Beautiful, glowing, melanin skin. How could I possibly not know that it could come from mixed skins? If the world sees this, why couldn't I include myself? Beautiful melanin, brown-skinned girl. I wish I'd been a child when Bay said, "Your skin is just like pearls." Beautiful melanin, mixed-skinned girl. Your skin is just like pearls. How did I miss this when looking in the mirror? Maybe it was that we don't see color bullshit that white people shove down my throat. They said it like a spoonful of sugar, as if to help the medicine go down. There are no saints here. I spat it back at them like a child. I've been searching for a cure. The next part is, Oh Sweet Child. Curly-haired child, natural mini afros, hair pulled tight into braids, chemical perms, flat irons that erased your curls. Your mama made sure you had it going on, whatever your heart desired. But she couldn't tell you why other white people were so fascinated with your hair that they'd reach out to touch, but recoil when offered elastics in a pick comb. Little girl left wondering what's wrong with her hair. It wasn't your curls, baby girl. Don't you understand now? That ignorance clouds judgment. They truly think ignorance is bliss. It's just a pick comb. Ignorance picks guns every day. Ignorant. I remember the spoonful of sugar. The next part is frustration within reflection. Why is it that when I'm screaming Black Lives Matters, the same white folks are telling me to quiet down? All lives matters, they remind me. But if my life matters too, why are you so scared of my hair? The world still picks and chooses when to include and exclude me from race. Does it just depend on the lighting or the room that I'm in? Raised too white or not Black enough is what they've said. Where do I even see myself? I took back the spoonful of sugar, and I straightened my hair. Over whose ignorance? Mine or theirs? Next part is community, Black community. You see, when I think about Black community, I think about basketball courts in Hetherington and community centers being built. I think about unsafe walks home. I think about fashion and style. I think about dance, like hip hop and of course, the Cupid Shuffle. I think about music, from jazz, R&B, doo-wop to funk. You know, we can never forget about soul. I think about soul. Soulful, loud, and proud. That's what I think about. I think about domino games, laughter and banter over dominoes clicking down. I think about not having to code switch. And mixed child, you're a master at that. I think about being able to let accents roll off tongue, like everyone will get you. It feels like being welcomed home, arms wide open. This is the cure. The next part is called Roots. I'm ready to be received. Harriet Tubman helped me see there's freedom to be found within community. That's what Black community is to me. When I look at Antiguan culture, I see faces like me. 23andMe showed me the roots were woven within my DNA. Antigua and Barbuda, I'll be there one day. I'm going to an island I never knew I could call home. I will be cured. The next part is called 23andMe. European, Northwestern European, British and Irish, Greater London, United Kingdom, plus 9 regions, French and German, broadly Northwest European, Sub-Saharan African, West African. I'm cured.
Hi, I'm Casey, the creator. I use she, her pronouns. The project is a song called Dear Fave X. The song is very clear. Me, Black joy and healing means meaningful friendships, relationships, and in community, and celebrating who I am, which is Blackanese gay Christian artist. Hey, Rawdog is in which I used to love you. Thank you for all the love and the memories you've given me. Now we only talk sometimes, but I see you see my stories all the time, and that makes me smile. Hey, Rawdog is in which I used to love you. Thank you for all the love and the memories you've given me. Now we only talk sometimes, but I see you see my stories all the time, and that makes me smile. We used to be long distance, your city was leading. So many memories are cherished to this day. Flawless queen are the words that describe you. The kind of beauty that turned heads everywhere we went. Boys, girls, and everywhere in between be lining up to date you. The day we got together, I was so happy. I still remember the excitement vividly. We had a relationship that was fire, filled with all the love and desire. You're the kind of ex that my new girl be intimidated by, jealous of. But then, remember how one of my other ex-girlfriend though, how she wanted me, her, and you to have threesome, LOL. Anyway, although we didn't work out romantically, our friendship never dies, and this often be a good thing about being involved with a friendship sign Aquarius, because so many of you I talked to or dated through the ease. Friendships with you are still going strong. You're one of a few in my life who I know that loves me unconditionally. You don't even have to say the word. Your actions throughout like the 6 years that we've known each other proves it. One of only few that's been there for me through thick and thin, through and through. Definitely so grateful for you, you know. You got the Aquarian humanitarian type of love. So blessed to have met you, yeah. I love you always though. Dear Fave X. Hey, Rawdog is in which I used to love you. Thank you for all the love and the memories you've given me. Now we only talk sometimes, but I see you see my stories all the time, and that makes me smile. Hey, Rawdog is in which I used to love you. Thank you for all the love and the memories you've given me. Now we only talk sometimes, but I see you see my stories all the time, and that makes me smile.
My name's Corel, my pronouns are she, they, and I chose to do a crochet project. I decided to do a crochet project because I think right now where I am in life, crochet is what speaks to me the most. It's what's been my main outlet. It's been my way of connecting with my creativity and demonstrating my creativity and challenging it. My piece speaks to the various facets of myself. I really wanted my piece to have that element of there's a lot to me and there's a lot of growth still and space for growth. You'll see that there's like a lot of color in there, and that's meant to speak to like the various sides of me and everything that I represent. I consider myself to be a very multifaceted person. And then there's the flowers underneath that speak to my growth and all the ways in which I see myself blooming and want to be continuing to bloom. The piece is my first freeform crochet piece, so there was no pattern, there was nothing to it. I just kind of went at it, and I'm incredibly proud of that, of having hit that milestone of making my first freeform crochet piece. It's very, very expressive. And it's not perfect, and I think that plays a big part into what I love about it. It's so me in so many ways. I feel like I have so many rough edges, and I love that about myself. I love being able to see all the ways in which I am human. I think one of my big takeaways is that my story is my own. In a lot of ways, I felt entitled to justify a lot of myself, a lot of who I am, and I'm realizing that so much of my story gets to be my own. I don't have to make myself incredibly understandable for everyone. I think the people that are ready to receive that are going to have access to the parts of me that I keep hidden, but I don't think that's necessarily something I owe everyone in terms of justifying who I am.
My name is Jade Petgrave-Cayley. I use they, them pronouns, and I submitted a poem for the Black Joy and Healing Project. My poem is about grief, so I don't think joy isn't the word for me there, but healing really is one of the central themes of the poem. I wrote it about a puppy that had died and taking care of the puppy's mom afterwards. Something interesting that I've been thinking about is my connection to animals being very unique to me. My last name is Petgrave, which is from like the Jamaican side of my family, and everyone on that side of my family is very, I don't know, spiritual and connected to animals. So I feel whenever I'm learning through being around like companion animals, it feels very connected to like my blackness and my Jamaican lineage. I need to have Black people around me. I need to create intentional space for closed spaces, I suppose. There's something very different about being in a room with only Black people where you can talk about your experiences, that it like I said before, it just can't be substituted for anything else. And I think it was really just like hearing everyone talk about their experiences every week put me in that emotional space to revisit the poem and add in the new perspectives that I've gained from listening to others.
They usually talk about dog years. First year is 15 human years. Second year is 9. Each year thereafter is 5. Or what about dog days, when the humidity snatches your throat and makes life unbearable? I had one dog day, one, and nothing else. Still wanting a reason, I reach for logic. I tremble in disbelief. Life is soured by luck. I spit it up, gasped out squeals unheard by hope. I went to the vet that one day, a half-wriggling newborn, left in a casket, still as ice. I got called a diagnosis and then they hung up the phone. They said, better that than stretch out the inevitable, like breaking up before the breaking down. Mom's lungs shook under wirings from brain, eyes wide in intimate confusion. Birthing can make you topsy-turvy. It can bury a piece of you as deep and as still as the rocks in the ground. I want to come back as a bird above all this burial. I want to climb out from beneath those roots. Deal you in just one more round? I want you to come back as lively as a bird soaring above all this burial. I needed to climb out from beneath those roots. Sam, dry your tears with this casket's tissues. Pink satin, cedar wood, brown dirt, Hail Mary. I have no lullabies to bring back the dead, no crayons that could draw you in. We buried you at the dog park in spring, in a thicket of trees with death on the wind. I go there sometimes still and watch the alive dogs swim. I think of those trees and how your blood went into them.
Hi, my name is Leon Enyi. My pronouns are she, they, and my medium for the project is sculpture. I knew with my piece that I wanted to convey the phases of my queer journey, or the phases of my life, basically. I included the sunflower to be representative of my childhood, sort of like ignorance is bliss, shiny, joyful, a little bit unaware, but like so bright and blooming. The cactus, it's prickly on the outside, it's a bit sharp, it's got a huge defense mechanism. That piece represents the sort of realization that I was queer. And then we have the dandelion. Of course, the dandelion phase that I chose was being like the puffball phase where you could sort of blow it and make a wish. That's just supposed to symbolize freedom and new beginnings. Then we've got the lavender. And that symbolizes the phase where I started to get comfortable with not coming out, but inviting in people to know about my queer identity. It sort of represents peace to me. And then we have the rainbow succulents. Of course, the rainbow symbolizing like the pride flag. It's not a literal rainbow, but rainbow succulents come in all different shapes and sizes, and they're very resilient. And I think this succulent, or this phase of my life, sums up what the Black Joy and Healing program was for me. It was healing. It was a place to draw strength. It was a place to have community. So I believe that a true Black Joy would be somebody who is whole on the inside, as well as shows to the world all of this, vibrance and happiness. And being able to talk about myself and not leave out my queer identity has been profoundly life-changing for me. It was a huge first, and it's brought me real joy. So that's what Black Joy and Healing means to me.